Melbourne City hunting for their first Ninja A-League victory against the Mariners here in Gosford. The Mariners looking for back-to-back wins. A tight angle, cuts it back, Briley Henry. There is the opening goal. Otto cuts it back, yes it is! Oh, you wouldn't believe it! Melbourne City, they are 5 points clear at the top.
A big battle in a red-hot race for the top 6. And an emphatic penalty puts victory in the lead. Piavlock now, Woods hits the all-important equaliser for the Phoenix.
Aulicino breaks the deadlock for Canberra. Now Aulicino, will she look towards goal? Aulicino! What a strike! Back of the net, Michelle Heyman, the drought is over.
So this one's got a finals feel about it. A win today offers belief for both sides. The cross and the score!
Amazing volley from Aulicino Ayres. What a finish.
Beautiful cross and a beautiful finish for the Perth Glory. Chip back in and to score. Perth Glory have done it.
Last game of the round before a little hiatus from Ninja A-League football as the raw defence to beat. Flight of foot, Evan Healy across the face of goal, and that's as easy as they come. Really nice finish. Hung up to the far post, nodded back into a dangerous area, and it has found its way through. The insurance they needed.
Some big statements made as the Ninja A-League takes a short break for the AFC Women's Asian Cup. Hello and welcome to Dub Zone. I'm Amy Duggan. Joining me, A-League's commentator Teo Pellizzeri, and for the first time this season, Melbourne Victory's Grace Ma. Jumped on a plane, joined us up here. It's great to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. I can tell already, Teo. The energy is there. We're going to kick it off with our moment of the match. We'll give you a moment to think about yours, Grace, and I'll start today. A moment close to my heart. A couple of defenders linking up for a goal. Taylor Otto finding herself as a centre-back in the right wing position and popping in this lovely little ball straight to Rebecca Stott, another centre-back against the Mariners in their big win. And you can see how much it means as a defender to score a goal, and great to see a couple of them on the scoreboard, Teo.
Well, I'm going to choose an American as well. You had Taylor Otto with the assist. I'm going to choose Josie Aulicino for her 2-goal performance. A player who was long overdue to start scoring goals. She's one of the highest chance creators in the league. Now she's starting to get a bit of reward, and it was just a great day out in the sun at McKellar Park for Canberra United, and one of their unsung heroes was my moment of the week. Grace, what about yours?
I couldn't go past former teammate of mine, Aulicino Ayres, her goal on the weekend. Why I love the goal is because any other player in this position probably would have sent it over the bar and half-volleyed it. What a finish. Such an incredible goal scorer.
She's definitely entertaining to watch, and the passion is unmatched, Grace. Speaking of Newcastle, let's head there now because they took on Perth Glory, and you would have thought home ground advantage was going to be their thing, but twice Perth came from behind to snatch the chocolates, Teo, in this one.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've had a come-from-behind win on the road. In fact, December 2023 is the last time they trailed in an away game and then came back to win. So Emma Dundas gets things started for Newcastle, and I think straight away the feeling around this game was that neither team was ever really out of it. Gabby Holler pops up and is able to lob Georgia Ritchie here for the equaliser. And then, Grace, as the game developed, Newcastle with that amazing Melina Ayres goal, they got all the momentum behind it. What does it say about Perth that they were able to dig deep at a ground where they hadn't won since COVID? They hadn't won away at number 2 Sports Ground ever. They hadn't won away in Newcastle since COVID, that they were able to come from behind and get the win here.
I think it shows really good signs as this top 6 battle is so tight at the moment. That was Westaway's first ever goal, I believe, as well. She's a young Victorian product. But yeah, just for a Perth team that has always struggled on the back end, especially away from home, this is a huge statement as they charge on for finals. They're in the top 6 with a negative goal difference. It's because they win narrow and they just do enough, whether it's 1-0s at home or finding a way on the road away. But this was character building, and it's put them in a really good position to make the finals now.
It's awesome to see them scoring on the road, Teo, as well. They've been really strong at home, but picking up points when you've made the trip across the country and against a team that, you know, beat Melbourne City, was knocking on the door of finals. It's a big hammer blow too for Newcastle in that respect. prospect.
Yeah, it is. Newcastle basically out of chances now. Mathematically, they can still get in, but they would need so many favourable results in other games. It's basically the door closed. Grace, Victory still haven't gone away to Perth yet, and when you played Perth in Melbourne, it was perhaps one of the more one-sided games of the season and a very comfortable Victory home win. So from afar, how are you tracking the drop-off of Newcastle but also the progress of Perth?
Yeah, I think this was a really pivotal moment for both teams in the season, and Perth, we know, are so difficult away, not only because of the long travel, but they have the time difference, and we've got a Friday night game against them to close out the season, and we're tipping that one to be huge. So I think they can hold a lot of confidence. They've got 2 home games, 2 away, so they'll know on the road if they pick up points, they'll be strong.
And you flagged Clancy Westaway there, scoring her first goal. I mean, she's been in and out of the team a bit, just a young midfielder, box-to-box player, has been able to show her goal-scoring ability. You know the experience of moving away from your home state at a young age. She's done that across the country. Not the first Victorian to try it with the Glory. I mean, what does it say about her determination to go and make a name for herself that she's done that and broken into the first team?
I think it's brilliant. You know, there's only now 2 teams in Melbourne as well, and you go as a young player and get as much experience as you can, and you learn and grow when you're away from home too, and you become, really a lot tougher and mentally ready for football if you do get caught upon to some of those bigger teams as well.
Well, let's head to Melbourne, where your team, the Victory Grace, had to share the points with Wellington on the weekend. How did you see this one?
Yeah, it was, I think a 1-1 draw was probably reflective of the 2 sides. Melbourne Victory historically is so solid defensively. Even in this Polachina's penalty, brilliantly won by Soph, and it put us in good stead, but a little bit of P of Lock magic and a great finish from an informed Michaela Woods really hurt us right at the end after what felt like quite a solid performance.
It's been quite an up and down campaign for your side this season, probably not the consistency that we're used to seeing from Melbourne Victory. You have crept back into the top 6, but what's going on? Is consistency just the problem? Is there something else behind it?
Yeah, I think if you look at the results, it's always been a goal or two involved. I think when I look back to last season for the club, a lot of those 1-0 or 2-1 wins came from set pieces as well, and that's something we've struggled with a little bit this season, scoring them. So, Kennedy was off to a flyer at the start of the season, as you've seen a bit of a highlights reel from all the goals, but in the games where we've really needed that 1 goal to get the 3 points, we've struggled, and we've usually used set pieces.
Teo, is this about creating chances for this side, or is it about finishing them?
I think we just underrated the impact of totally renovating the midfield. I mean, Alex Chidiac was the Dolan medalist. Alana Murphy was a fringe Matilda. Obviously, they're going to be big losses. Maybe we were just seduced by the names coming in on paper, thinking that Victory would be just fine and roll along. And maybe the loss of Sarah Dapolonia, who played a lot of minutes for Victory last season. It is a totally new engine room trying to run the team. Do you feel as though the penny is just going to drop and the team is going to click at some point? Because I'm very reticent to put the line through Victory, because that's when the charge will start. There's too much history of the club squeaking into the finals only to work it out and go on a run. And I feel as though lingering around the 6 is almost kind of ideal for Victory, because when the stakes are ramped up, that's when they tend to find their best.
Yeah, I don't think we're waiting for the penny to drop. I think we know we need to get in finals football, and then anything can happen. And I think that's something the club knows, and every player knows outside of Victory and as well as in it. So yeah, we're ready. So that's all we can do, is be ready to fight for finals.
But did we, the media, get it wrong and overrate Victory? Are you actually is your record a fair reflection of where the team is at, or do you believe that the team is underperforming being where they are on the ladder?
I think, I was coming to Victory, after what happened with Western, going, this is a good team, and this is, title contenders definitely on paper. For whatever reason, some things haven't clicked, some things haven't gone our way, chances missed in big moments. So I think we haven't reached our best performance of the season yet. And I think one of the great things about Australian football is you can not win the league and you can win the championship.
Well,
so
you're definitely still in the hunt, that is for sure, Grace. And not to take anything away from Wellington either in this 1-1 draw, Michaela Woods is a name that we just continually saying at the moment, week after week after week, standing up for the Knicks again. 4 goals, 5 assists in 7 matches, and I would assume she'll be pinching some Dolan votes as well.
Well, I think the one thing that Phoenix will be really disappointed about is it took them going behind to find their best football, and they left their run a little bit late to win. It did feel as though they were overrunning the victory at the end of the night, and Michaela Woods gets the equaliser, but it could have been so much more. Great assist by Pia Vlock as well. What was your perception of the game, Grace? Did it feel like Victory were holding on, or were you still reasonably confident that Victory could have just as easily grabbed a winner of their own?
Yeah, I think not too long before the goal, Kennedy White had a chance that that the keeper made the save. So 2-0, it's a different story, and that is, I guess, the cliche of the moments in football that can win or lose you the game. So I do think that last 10 minutes or so, there was a lot of corners, and then that momentum and pressure built. So Wellington, I think, at the end were quite happy to finish with the draw because it is a tough match away from home, and where they're sitting on the ladder, that 1 point is quite good.
And we're just talking about Michaela Woods, Teo. To take a player like Samba, who started the season absolutely on fire, and then fill those shoes with someone like Michaela Woods, they've really just gone like for like, and the goals keep going. But I wanted to talk about Samba for a minute. Succumbing to that ACL injury, of course, had set up a crowdfunder, which has now reached its capacity, and she has enough money to have surgery, but she's chosen not to do it in Australia. She's chosen to go overseas and have this surgery in Qatar. It's quite the move.
Yeah, look, and you got to respect, it's Samba's career, it's her livelihood, and going with a trusted surgeon. I would have thought Australia, with our almost pioneering research with ACL injuries across a number of sports, would have been at the forefront. But you got to respect the decision, and Samba's been able to, leverage her immense fan base to help crowdfund the gap, and it's all been ticked off by Wellington. I guess the main concern I have is that the surgery hasn't happened yet, and the rehab needs to start. I mean, Samba's on a limited time frame to get back at all next season, to get back for the second year of her 2-year contract, if the ACL surgery hasn't even happened yet. So hopefully it's a smooth rehab and we do get to see her on the pitch next season.
And great to hear that Wellington is supporting her the whole way through this journey, both financially in that respect of what the surgery would have cost here in Australia, but also through that rehabilitation. Grace, it's so crucial that our players are taken care of in that way, and not just, oh, you're injured, you can deal with it yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, we put our bodies on the line for the club and for the people that support. I think it's wonderful to see the outcry of support for Samba in, these donations, because I just think it goes to show that the fans in this league and around the country, and including New Zealand and the Nepalese community, are really willing to put, their money where their mouth is and support our players when they really need it.
Just one more on Wellington before we move off them. Do you think, and you've been part of premiership winning teams, championship winning teams, do they carry themselves and do they play like a team with the belief of a championship winning team, or are they just enjoying the upswing and the adventure towards what could be a first final series, rather than actually having the sort of the aura and the swagger of potential champions of this competition?
It's a great question, Teo. I really think under Bev Priestman, I've been so impressed, and watching playing against them, and then watching from the sidelines on the weekend, their style of play is so clear now, what they're trying to do, and their harmony in the team. I really think they're serious contenders this year, not just to scrape in. And yeah, I think they're in really good stead, and they've invested heavily across coaching staff and players to do that.
Watch this space, but let's now head to Canberra, because it was the Josie Aulicino show in the nation's capital, and your old team, Grace, is now up to second.
Look, I, as a Canberra United fan myself, my parents are still Canberra United supporters. They're their members every week. They haven't given up their seats even when I left. They've, been saying that there's a real buzz around the team this year. I think Aulicino is such a good, she's such a good player for this style Canberra like to play. Beth Gordon, Sasaki have been immense this season, and they're free-flowing, and it kind of reminds me of the the era that Canberra United won the premiership in 2017.
It was a comprehensive victory, Teo.
I think Canberra did something very interesting in this game and almost hid something in plain sight that they might use for the rest of the season. This was the first time that Malone, Sasaki and Gordon all started in the same game this season, and they changed their backline, they changed their midfield. I don't think you do that specifically for the visit of Wanderers. I think they were trying something there that they might be able to deploy come the pointy end of the season, and they will be there. They should be there now. I thought it was a total knockout in terms of both their tactics and their execution. And, you know, on their day, they have promised to be a high-scoring team, and when they get it right, they're irresistible. They are a really good team.
Great to see Michelle Heyman back on the score sheet too, right before the AFC Women's Asian Cup. It was a very different story for the Wanderers though. Amy Harrison spoke post-match about the performances of their young players and how they're being asked to step up in this high-performing environment.
I think, you know, they've all had chances throughout the season here and there, but now they're actually going to be called upon in a more important role. And at the end of the day, it's up to them to step up. Every young player that comes through the game, Nils, you know what it's like. When you're young, you do everything you can to make sure that the coach finds a way to keep you on the field. And I'll be honest, I don't know if we're doing that right now. I think we disappointed ourselves today because I think our past 4, 5, 6 weeks has actually been really, really positive, and I thought we're heading on the up. But I think today we got exposed in far too many areas.
Some very, very strong words from the Wanderers captain following that comprehensive defeat by Canberra. Teo, I thought the young players had been the ones that were stepping up the last few weeks.
Gee, when the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. every morning for the Wanderers, it's Sonny and Cher because it's Groundhog Day. And after hearing that interview from Amy Harrison, it reminded me so much of one she did after Wanderers lost away to Perth last season, only 11 months ago. So I just wonder, same CEO, same head of women's football, same coach, same captain, and right now they're heading for the same results. Like, when are we going to sit here and hear this interview again in 10 or 11 months' time? When's it going to change? They have an immense amount of talent, I agree. And the reason I talk so glowingly about many of their youngsters is because they do have great futures, but do they have great futures at the Wanderers? Now, even I've got deja vu. I'm pretty sure I said that on this show last year. When are we going to break the cycle? Well, I don't want to call them the Punxsutawney Wanderers.
Okay, there you have it. From Teo. Grace, I'm going to ask you though, what is the mentality like when you're going to face the Wanderers? Is it just like any other game? Is there a little bit more complacency there? You'd hope not, or is it like we know we can get the job done?
Well, we've got them coming up in a few weeks, so I don't want to eat my words. But look, I think I've played them across 3 different teams now, and it's really clear to us that they do try to play, and they have some very technically sound footballers, but the threat to goal is very, I think they fall short there. I think the only time that was really was Sophie Harding's year where everything she touched sort of turned to gold, and when Lynn Williams and Kristen Hamilton were in, you know, as the Twin Towers. So, yeah, I think there's been a real lack of that, and also each season they seem to lose their best up-and-coming players to other teams or other leagues as well, and I think that really is hard for the club to then build on strength. Instead, they're trying to find replacements, and when they don't work out, there's not a massive threat in the league. And usually if they do cause an upset, it's one lucky goal or one really tight contest, never convincing.
I mean, the positive spin for the Wanderers is they're not last. In a shorter season, 23 games last season, they won 4 games. It's only a 20-game season this year. They're already on 4 wins. They don't have the fewest goals scored. They don't have the most goals conceded. So there are some signs of progress there, but there's also still a few games to go, and that includes victory away and Wellington away. So they're going to get some stern tests, and if they can pick up even just one more win, at least that's progress on last year.
All right. Well, let's head to Gosford now, where City made sure they're heading into the Asian Cup break with a very comfortable buffer on top of the table. The defending champions dropping out of the top 6, of course, 3-1 winners over the Central Coast Mariners. Grace, talk us through this one.
Yeah, I think the game was really one-sided. I know the Mariners did have an opportunity or 2, but they really are missing Rasmussen now, and City were just top to finish off the goals. a really nice assist there from Holly McNamara, but Aideen Keane was elite in this game. And as you mentioned before, Amy, the centre-backs combining for a set piece.
You know it's a good game when you're on top of your game, when your centre-backs feel comfortable enough to move this far forward in the field and be in the box or almost in the box and having shots.
Yeah, I wish I could do that as a centre-back. That'd be great. Get a few more goals on the score sheet. But, yeah, and look, you know, Izzy finishing that goal, I think that is a classic Izzy Gomez goal, just fight to instinctively read the play. But, you know, City are looking to find a little bit more consistency now in coming to this break, and obviously with Holly going off for international duty, they've got the Champions League to go as well. I think they're in good form.
Teo, statistically, this one was very similar to the first time they met this season. The Mariners had some chances early on goal, but in the end couldn't convert.
And I think the best sign for City is you saw the times of the goals there. Often when City are patient and build pressure, they don't break through, whereas in this game they cracked it open and were able to score with regularity once they got the first one away. And I think when they draw up their best laid plans, that's how they imagine games go. It's very hard to criticise the Mariners for, you know, losing to Melbourne City. They're an exceptional team. It's more just after that win away in Wellington, they'd raised the expectations so much that it feels like even more of a letdown that they weren't able to back it up. And away to Gosford should be a trickier trip than that for Melbourne City, but I think that speaks to what a good performance it was from the visiting team.
What are their chances of making the top six now?
Mariners? Oh, still pretty good. I mean, their destiny, I should say, is still in their own hands. And I feel as though, you know,
they'll be there or abouts.
Well, they control their own destiny. They're going to end up with a similar win-draw-loss to last season. It's just a matter of if that's good enough to get you sixth place or not.
All right. Well, let's move into the final match of the round. It was Brisbane Roar taking on Adelaide United. It was Adelaide that got the chocolates and looked quite convincing in this one. Continued their impressive run, this time at Spencer Park. Erin Healy putting the defender on skates, to be honest, to set up this opener, Grace. She is a force.
She is brilliant. When I talk about players who are silky on the ball, she reminds me of the likes of Yakira Cooney-Cross, Rose Lavelle, these world-class players. You can't, honestly, sometimes you can't get it tackling. You just got to hope that she runs the ball out. It was a brilliant assist put on a platter. And then, you know, Ella Tonkin stepping up for a second goal this season in another crucial moment, I think is a really good sign of the healthy sort of share the Adelaide squad are going with their goals and assists this season. And yeah, it was a convincing win, and I think Brisbane are probably now feeling the heat.
Stats, Teo, there'll be something there, I'm sure, about an Adelaide turnaround.
Adelaide only won one of their first 6 games this season, and now they are on a 9-game run with 7 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. The goal scoring has been a big part of turning that around. But as you can see from the numbers there, basically the first third of the season, they worked their way into it. They promised us better football was coming, and I think many of their fans were willing to take them at their word, and now they're being rewarded with a very good run. That 1 loss in there away to Wellington means that they're not going to get up towards the 11-game unbeaten run they had last season, but crucially, they've won 3 in a row. That's already the club's record winning streak. So when they come back from the international break with Perth at home, they will be going for 4 wins in a row for the first time in club history, which is a real credit to Theo Siunis, but also to the players. I mean, when they lost at home to Brisbane first time around in December, 4 changes to the team for Brisbane. And we talk about their injuries, the Varley sale and so forth. But Brisbane were only 4 different. Adelaide, crucially, also 4 different. So they've just tweaked the 11 and they've found a winning combination.
Yeah, and I think when the goals started to flow, as you mentioned, the wins were always going to come. Erin Healy was sort of by herself for the first couple of rounds of this match, of this season, I mean, and then you saw Fiona Wirtz and a few of the other players, as you mentioned, Grace, starting to chip in, which is great. Wonderful news too for one of your former teammates, Grace, in Raw goalkeeper Chloe Lincoln, called into the Matildas after Tegan Micah was forced to pull out of the squad due to ongoing concussion issues. Chloe's reaction, let's listen to that first.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just been a whirlwind, like sort of 24 hours. Yeah, it's sort of, I was honestly, first reaction was just devastated for Teagues, because I know this tournament would have meant a lot to her. And yeah, send her all the well wishes in the world, and I really hope that she's on the mend and she can get a speedy recovery. And yeah, really just honestly super surprised and feeling super honoured, and just really want to go in there and try and help the group as much as possible. I think it'll be an amazing opportunity. So yeah, devastated fatigues, but hoping that I can help sort of try and fill her shoes, which will be very difficult to do because she's an incredible player, incredible person, and she'll be really missed from the squad, I'm sure.
You really got to feel fatigue and Micah there, but when opportunity knocks, you answer the door, don't you, Grace? What do you think about this Asian Cup call-up for your former teammate at Western United?
Yeah, I think when you look at it sort of from the outset, it makes sense. She's got the 3 caps now and has international experience at a youth and senior level. And when you talk about tournament football, experience is really important. And yeah, look, whether she gets game time is probably more so unlikely unless we've got a lot of sort of circumstances that don't go our way. But I think when you look at bringing a player like her in, and you could see she made that interview pretty much about Tegan and hoping that she was well. She's a really soft soul and a really calm presence on the team. So it makes sense, and I think the more experience we can give our young goalkeepers, especially the ones that are being pipped to have the talent, yeah, I think it will be a good opportunity for her to be at a major tournament.
Yeah, it sure will be a cracking experience and a whirlwind call-up for Chloe Lincoln, but also a whirlwind 12 months for former Mariners boss Emily Husband, now the Matildas assistant coach. So from the Ninja A-League to the Matildas, we spoke to her following the side's announcement last week.
Your Ninja A-League 2025 champions for the first time in the club's history, the Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind last sort of 8 months. It really has. Never imagined myself to be standing here, especially right before a home Asian Cup. It's a really, really special place to be. It's been a wonderful environment to learn in and a wonderful environment to obviously observe during. I can't speak highly enough of the environment and the rest of the staff that I'm surrounded by. No one's coming in as squad depth. Everyone's coming in for a reason and will be called upon.
The cross, Heyman! And it's 2!
Oh, look, Michelle scores goals. So, you know, you're gonna have minimal opportunities in these games, and she's one that, you know, has the impact and has the opportunity to finish the action. She's got a wealth of experience, and that's something you can lean on in tournament. And, you know, Holly Mack's been scoring for fun this year.
McNamara, great first touch. McNamara completes her hat-trick.
She's lethal in front of goal, and you know, to have somebody like that within the squad and someone that you can rely upon if a game gets a little bit tricky, you know, you can bring both those players on, or you know, like you can start them against teams and sort of wear them down, and yeah, they'll both be pivotal players for us. We've done a lot of work in the A-League over the last 6 months, scouting, looking, finding scenarios, and there were probably, I'd say, 4 players that were very, very close to making this squad that were probably not identified in the build-up, but have done well in the A-League, and we believe that the future is in a good space with this, because there's a lot of talent. We just now need to expose it to that international competition.
The freshly minted Matilda, Izzy Gomez, gets the 3rd for the Central Coast.
I think Izzy has continued to build on 2 fantastic seasons already at Central Coast Mariners. You know, she doesn't change. She's great at breaking up play. She's great at finding that pass forward. And Razzie is just continuing to get better and better every season, and so worth you know, and proud of her for getting a move to Juve. And so yeah, both of them were, you know, I don't like to use the word unlucky. There's always reasons, but both of them are on a great development journey and have got bright futures ahead of them. You know, one of the facts that sits with me is the fact that every single Matilda has come through this league. So it shows you what the A-League is doing.
It certainly does, Emily. All our Matildas stars are built in the Ninja A-League, that is for sure. Not long to go now until kick-off for the Matildas against the Philippines. Grace, you looking forward to this one?
I am looking forward to it. You know, my country, against my former coach and some of my former teammates in the Philippines. So I think it'll be a fantastic game over in Perth. I'm sure the crowd will get right behind it and it will kick off what hopefully is our charge to the trophy.
Do you think we have to worry about Mark's intel on Australian players?
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine. You know, they have played him before as well over in Perth. So I think the Philippines have got a big challenge trying to contain our front line.
Having had a week to now think about the squad, again, I want to look ahead past the group stage to a potential match against Japan. If we're going to beat them, Grace, what do you think needs to happen for the Matildas to get over that hump? Because my great concern, looking at the squad now that I've had time to think about it, is that it is a bit unbalanced. I do think there is one striker too many, whether it's McNamara, Heyman, Seamson. I'm just not sure whether we've gone in one midfielder short, and specifically when I think of Japan and 60+% possession, who's winning the ball back? Who's leaving a foot in? How do you think we'll beat Japan?
I mean, if you want ball-winning midfielders, if Katrina Gorry has a campaign like she did at the World Cup, I don't think we'll have any issues. Kyra obviously has been a bit ill as well, and so I'm sure, but she'll come flying as she always does into tournaments. And then look, they've got her as a forward, but Joe has been employing Remy Seamson in that 10 position a little bit, and one thing I know that Remy's work rate is second to none, and she goes flying into things. So I don't think that it will be our aggression that will let us down. It will be our ability to retain the ball against a team like Japan, to create real good goal scoring opportunities
and capitalise on them. Because ultimately that's what it's about, right? Putting the ball in the back of the net. The good news is for our Dub Zone viewers that we will have Dub Zone following each of the Matildas group stage matches. And for the first one, after the Philippines, I will be joined by you, Grace Maher, and Carly Rostbacken, bringing both sides of Melbourne together for the Matildas. And there are still tickets available also for that opening match. So jump online and grab them if you haven't done that already. Let's have a look at how the Ninja A-League ladder is sitting as we head into this AFC Asian Cup break. Well, no surprises. Melbourne City still on top and have opened that gap to 3 points now. Canberra United in second place. Adelaide, Wellington, Perth Glory and Melbourne Victory holding top 6 spots over the break. Central Coast, Brisbane Roar still knocking on the door. The Jets, the Wanderers and Sydney sitting a little further down, Teo.
Yeah, and basically the maths haven't eliminated everyone, but it's extremely tricky to find ways in for those bottom 3. Brisbane still, 8th place, but they still have Newcastle and Perth at home amongst their run home. So they have to take care of business, though, if they want to see finals. I do feel as though 28 points should be enough to get into 6th place now. If you leave yourself somewhere between 27 and 25, it's coming down to goal difference, and as we can see, there's some big skews there in which teams have poor goal difference and which ones have really strong goal difference.
Keeps it all exciting, Teo, as well as the matches that are coming up. A good time as any to celebrate some of our clubhouse leaders and some of the big awards that are potentially on offer this season. We're going to start with the goal of the year. Grace, what have you chosen so far?
It was one of those early on goals. I have had to go with Rolla Batawia. I know there's been some great long-range screamers, but for me, this sort of ability as a striker with your back to goal to turn the defender and finish in the back of the net as so elegantly as she has done. I think I love these sort of technical turns and just finish. It's exactly what you want from your striker. It was a great, really well executed, and Rolla Batawia is a class player who pulls out goals like this all the time.
Teo, what was your moment?
Well, I'm just going to take the easiest option on the table. Peter Trimmers against, Grace, or
That's
Melbourne
why I
Victory.
didn't pick it.
You were there. What was your view of this goal?
Without swearing, holy. It was beautiful. I got perfect angle as it. I was right there. I didn't actually think she was going to shoot. It was so far out, and to go as top corner as she did, that was class.
Does Court know she made the goal with how she dived for it as well? It looks that much more spectacular to have the goalkeeper falling out of the way.
Yeah, but if they stand still, you're going to be annoyed as well, aren't you? So you've got to go for it and hope that somehow your arms grow another metre.
You could have picked the other Peter Trimmer's goal as well, couldn't you? The free kick from last round as well. Absolutely outstanding stuff from her this season. I went with Charlotte Lancaster, taking the ball just inside her own half here, turning out... Now, normally a player would run at the defenders here, but not Charlotte. Left foot, thank you very much. I'm sure it took a slight deflection there on second thought seeing it, but into the top corner and from way out. So another... left footer, Gracie.
Yeah, I know. I've scored from that position, so I don't blame her for shooting. But I think also when context, like that was a huge game in that goal in that game, and got them the win.
A couple of quick questions for you now, Teo. Signing of the year.
Yeah, how can you go past Teresa Morrissey? I think without her performance in goal for Perth, they would arguably be on the bottom of the ladder. I think the number of points that she has been worth to the Glory is almost more points than any other player to any other team, except maybe Rasmussen or McNamara with the number of match-winning goals that they have scored. So it's pretty hard to go past her as the signing of the season, and hard to believe it's her first campaign actually as a starter in this league.
I'm going to go for an old stalwart in Erin Healy. I think having her at Adelaide makes Adelaide what they are. She's the heart and soul of that. But I don't want to take away from all the signings that Bev Priestman has also made at Wellington. Samba bringing what she has to the league, nicking a couple of players from across the ditch to strengthen her side. And of course, even Michaela Woods coming in as a like for like. So some great signings there. But Grace, what about you?
Yeah, I had to go with Bente Janssen. I witnessed her goal in that first game of the season that she glided through and put top corner. But then beyond that, her ability to contribute goals, assists, she's been fantastic for this Brisbane Roar team. And she's come from the Ajax as well and was probably given limited minutes there. But I think is a great example of the sort of players that really thrive in this league because they're very technically sound, incredibly intelligent footballers, and she's just silky on the ball too, and you just don't know what she's going to do, and that makes it really difficult to play against. So I think she's been outstanding, and if Brisbane were higher on the ladder, I think it would be no doubt for some higher accolades.
And what about who's going to take out the Julie Dolan medal, Teo?
Well, Erin Healy got so close last season and missed a huge chunk of the season due to injury. So it's pretty hard to go past a player who has already proven to catch the eye. I think this season, with Adelaide winning just as many, if not more games, she'll be right up there again.
Yep, it's hard to disagree with you. The other one, I think Holly Mack is a dead set, red hot chance too.
Yeah, when you're a striker with the best team at the moment, top of the league, and also scoring, so top of the Golden Boot race as well. I think I'm not really sure exactly how the voting works, but I think when it's sort of you saw with Sophie Harding as well, it becomes almost a shoo-in as long as she carries that form for the rest of the season.
Looks like all these awards are set up for strikers. I have to say it's a little sad, but good at the same.
Sad.
The entertainment.
Claire
Golden
Polkinghorne has won it a couple of times, Amy. When defenders play well, they do win the golden medal.
Is that not just the national team, sort of like the heroic glow? Yeah.
The national team glow. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Stay tuned to Dub Zone for all the highlights and reactions from the AFC Women's Asian Cup. Our first episode will be on Monday, following the Matildas' opening game against the Philippines in Perth. To Teo Pellizzeri, to Grace Maher, thank you so much for your time on Dub Zone today. We'll catch up with each other again next week, Grace.
Yeah, thanks. We'll look forward to it.
We'll leave you with the taste of the first ever official tournament anthem. That's How We Win, and we'll see you all again next Monday.